Hello everyone, I'm Ghost Hunter Joe, and this is me in July 2024 standing by a historical marker at a rest stop on State Route 13 near Fitchville, Ohio. It commemorates the tragic Golden Age nursing home fire at that location over 60 years ago, which was and remains the nation's worst nursing home tragedy. I published two videos on this tragedy titled The Golden Age Nursing Home Fire, Parts 1 and 2. If you have not yet seen them, you may want to. On November 23, 1963, the Golden Age Nursing Home caught on fire, killing 63 out of 84 residents or patients. Many of these patients were invalids and unable to get out of their beds, and some were restrained to their beds. Of those who were able to get out of their beds, many were found dead at the exit doors, which were locked. I found this photograph of the horrific tragedy on the internet. I took this photograph of the historical marker in September 2010. According to the marker, 21 unclaimed bodies were interred in a 60-foot grave at the Woodlawn Cemetery in Norwalk, Ohio. It is my understanding that the reason these bodies went unclaimed was because they had no family or their families could not afford to bury them. In July 2024, I was joined by my ghost hunting friend Heather, pictured here next to the historical marker at the rest stop near Fitchville at the site of the nursing home fire. Heather and I went to the Woodlawn Cemetery in Norwalk, Ohio, and found the mass grave with the unclaimed bodies from the nursing home fire, which is located at the back of the cemetery. I took this photograph of the monument for the 21 unclaimed bodies who were buried in the mass grave. During a dowsing rod session, we stumbled upon a question to which we did not already know the answer. When asking spirits questions, we typically like to know the answers before asking so that we can confirm the validity of the answers received. But in this instance, we did not know the answer.
This is Joe. He's going to use my breast dowsing rods and see if we can get anybody answer. Do you guys still want to talk to us? If you do, cross the rods.
Come on, we got some questions to ask.
Are you just going to... There.
Okay, it crossed.
Okay, now can you open this up? Did they put you guys in coffins when they buried you? Was they just put you in a body bag? Like a garbage bag?
I like the term body bag better.
But I'm just...
Okay, sorry. Open back up.
Open back up.
I might have jiggled it when I laughed. Okay, were you buried in body bags
Or
caskets?
was the body bags were like almost like big garbage bags. See, they're crossing when I asked.
Okay, so that's yes for body bags.
Yeah.
Okay.
Admittedly, our question could have been better phrased. When asking questions with the dowsing rods, we should always try to phrase them as yes or no questions, which the spirits can easily answer yes or no by crossing the rods. Instead of following that format, I asked if the 21 unclaimed bodies were buried in body bags or caskets, making it unclear what crossing the rods would indicate. In any event, this picture is photographic proof that the unclaimed bodies were indeed buried in coffins. But as one question was answered, another question surfaced. According to the caption shown here, the bodies of 22 individuals were buried in the common grave at the Woodlawn Cemetery, which contradicts the historical marker which states there were 21 bodies, as well as the monument at the cemetery, which lists 21 names. In addition to the newspaper article from 1963, this Norwalk area funeral director, who handled the unclaimed bodies, was interviewed in an excellent 2006 documentary written and directed by Justin Zimmerman titled Fireland, which can be viewed on YouTube. He stated that there were 22 unclaimed bodies, not 21. So I asked my godson Thomas to investigate and get back with me about the discrepancy on whether there were 22 or 21 unclaimed bodies buried at the mass grave in Norwalk.
With respect to the number of unclaimed bodies buried at the mass grave at the Woodlawn Cemetery in Norwalk, I contacted the cemetery and spoke with a gentleman named Kevin. I asked him if the cemetery records indicated that there were 21 or 22 people buried in the mass grave. To my surprise, Kevin told me that there are only 20 people buried in the mass grave.
So how many unclaimed bodies were buried at this mass grave at the Woodlawn Cemetery in Norwalk? Were there 22, as reported in a newspaper back in 1963 and the documentary made in 2006? Or 21, as indicated on a historical marker at the rest stop erected in 2007, and this monument erected close to 50 years after the bodies in question were buried? If there are only 20 people buried here, as the cemetery official told Thomas, which one of the 21 names listed on this monument is missing? I guess this is a secret those involved have taken with them to their graves. And this is Ghost Hunter Joe saying goodbye and see you next time.